So let's go and begin by looking at the Spurs' position going into the May 12th draft lottery. So the lottery is about 3 weeks away from now, on May 12th. We do know that the Spurs, where they finished their own record, that pick's going to go in with the 8th lottery pick odds, as I mentioned here before on the Spotted Pod. And what that basically means is that the Spurs have like a 35% chance of getting number 8, a 32% chance at number 9, a 6.8% chance at number 10, a 7.2% chance at number 4, 6.7% chance at 3, 6.3% chance at 2, and then of course a 6% chance at 1, and then there's a 0.4% chance at 11. So again, that's probably not going to happen out of all those odds. But again, so the Spurs' pick, the 8th pick, has a chance to move up into the top 4, and it's happened before. History does tell us that it has happened. As I've also said here on the Spotted Pod, way back since 2019, here's where the going in with the 8th pick or odds ends up going in the draft. Here's how it worked. In 2019, it was the 8th it turns into 2nd. Then the next year, 8th turns into 3rd. Then the next 3 years, 8th stays 8, 8, 8. So again, it just stays right there at 8th. And then just the most recent lottery was actually where it got a little worse, where the 8th going in with the 8th pick odds ended up turning into 10th. So 67% chance that you're going to get the same placement, which is like 8th, or a little worse based on the last 6 years. But there is a 33% chance, again, based on the last 6 years, that you could get into the top 4, especially in the top 3, which is what has happened before in the case of Memphis going in with 8th and getting 2nd, and then also Charlotte going in 8th and getting 3rd, and those two players ended up becoming John Morant and LaMelo Ball for both of those teams. Now, the big question that I really haven't talked about too much here on the Spotted Pod is, where is the Atlanta Hawks' pick in land in 2025 that the Spurs have? The Spurs do have Atlanta's pick in 2025 in the draft here in June. And so the big question was, where's that pick in Atlanta? Unfortunately for the Spurs, that pick probably is going to get a good placement here in the lottery, and here's why. Atlanta actually had a pretty decent season where they were basically on the cusp of, basically not even being a lottery team. They had they won some of their playing games, they could have got into the playoffs, but they did lose in the play-in tournament, which means that on Monday, they went into a random drawing with the Sacramento Kings for who was going to get 13th or 14th place odds going into the lottery. And after that coin flip, that random drawing, the Hawks did lose that coin flip, and so the Kings got the favorable odds, the 13th favorable odds. So the Spurs' pick from the Hawks is going to go in with the 14th pick odds into the lottery, and that basically, based on history and also what the percentages say, is that it's going to be 14 most likely. So it has a 96.6% chance of getting number 14, just a 1% chance of getting number 4, and then a 0.9% chance of landing 3, a 0.8% chance of landing 2, and then a 0.7% chance of landing number 1. Now, what again does history tell us since 2019, when the NBA did change some of the lottery odds, is that in all 6 past lotteries, going in with 14 means that you're going to land with 14. You're not going to move up, or you're not going to get any further. So again, based on what's happened before in the past, in the last 6 years, it's most likely going to be that the Hawks' pick is going to be number 14. And then again, we'll see. The big question for the Spurs' pick is going to be, where does their number going in with number 8 move? Does it move up, or does it kind of slightly fall behind? So again, that's kind of where the Spurs are going to be going into May 12th on the lottery. Which again, so 8th pick odds for their own pick, 14 pick odds for the Atlanta pick, and then the Spurs are going to have a second round pick that's going to be 38th. The NBA announced as well. So again, that 38th pick can be used to draft a player and sign that player to a 2-way contract, sign that player to a full roster spot, or use if the team doesn't really have any roster spots, then you can go to the draft and stash, and if it's an international player, you can keep that player overseas, as well. That's also another option. So again, those are the Spurs' options going into the draft lottery coming up in about 3 weeks on May 12th.